Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. It's Friday, which means another crypto interest rate and news update. Today is the 17th of December 2021. And apologies again for my voice. I've been breaking into kind of a coughing fit trying to record this. So I will try and get through. I'm going to make it quite a quick video today. Got just a few stories to kind of cover, but apologies if I break into a coughing fit. I'll try and edit out the worst of it. Now, as always, we start with any new coins or interest rate changes. I have updated the Swissborg rates and the big information is, or the big news is, that there is a new coin on crypto.com, which is VVS Finance, offering between 0.5 and 3%, depending how long you want to kind of lock it up for and how much a CRO is locked up in your account. Apart from that, I will be going through at the weekend, I think probably on Sunday, and making sure everything is up to date. So do let me know if you see any errors. Have done a few tweaks over the last kind of week with new rates and rate changes. And then just moving over to the token prices. So Bitcoin down 1% this week. It's had a really big pullback just in the last couple of hours. It was down lower than 47,000 an hour or two ago, just perked back up a fraction, but it's been a pretty turbulent week. Bitcoin seems to be pretty much range bound at the moment, between roughly $47,000 and $49,000. It bounces up to the top, comes back to the bottom, bounces up to the top of the range, comes back to the bottom. So seems to be a bit range bound. I think potentially we could see next week a bit of a breakout of this kind of range and some bigger kind of price moves, but on the back of that, we've got a little bit of a mixed bag this week. So we've got crypto.com down 5.6%, Swissborg down 9%, that's the worst performer this week, Yield App down 5.3%. On the other hand, Nexo up 3.2%, and Celsius standout performer this week, 10.4% up over the last 7 days, and I believe that's up on an increase last week as well. So it's still way off its kind of all-time highs. What I'll do next week, when I do my last interest rate and news update of the year, is I will go through the sort of like year-to-date update, the year-to-date, or the yearly kind of like change in prices, as well as just the last 7 days. So we're looking a little bit more detail at the tokens and how they've performed over the last year throughout 2021. But then moving on to the stories, the big news this week is that Lending have raised $70 million in a Series B round, and we'll talk about the mortgage-backed, Bitcoin-backed mortgage in a second. But yeah, the big news is they've raised $70 million. They did a smaller raise earlier this year, so nice to see them continuing to grow. This round values the company at $540 million, so just over $500 million valuation. 10T Holdings led the funding round, which included Golden Tree Asset Management, Raptor Group, and FJ Labs. And the CEO of 10T will be joining Lending's board of directors. So yeah, big stuff for Lending. I know a few of the guys over there, so really nice to see them increasing in size, continue to kind of build. I think they've picked up quite a lot of business over the last 6 months, particularly with the drop off of rates of kind of BlockFi. I think particularly they're seen as I think across the industry as quite a safe bet, like kind of BlockFi, safe pair of hands, not that kind of risky. So I think they've picked up a lot of business on the back of those big rate drops from BlockFi, but really nice to see them do another raise and continue to grow. And then the other story, which was kind of like announced at the same time, was this Bitcoin mortgage. So basically, Lending will be introducing the world's first Bitcoin mortgage. If you go to mortgage.lending.io, you can get on the list. So click on this button here, you can get on the list. Now, the mortgages will be available for people in the US, in Canada first off, and then expanding to the US, I believe, the beginning of next year. Hopefully they will expand beyond that. We shall see. I'm in the UK. It'd be really interesting if they came over to the UK and Europe, the wider kind of European kind of community as well. Hopefully maybe sometime next year. But you can click here to get on the list. If you scroll down, you can find out a little bit more about it, and then there's some FAQs at the bottom. So how the mortgage works, which countries it's available in. So you can see here, currently available to select Canadian homeowners, will be available to Canadians and Americans starting in 2022. And then how it kind of works, how the mortgage kind of works, what they'll be doing. Essentially, they will be lending you up to 100% of your Bitcoin holdings. So if you held $1 million in kind of Bitcoin and you purchased a house for kind of $1 million, then they would offer you 50%. So they would offer you $500,000 of the combined value. So they would offer you essentially the same amount as you hold in Bitcoin if your property is worth an equivalent amount. So that's kind of how it will work. We'll find out a little bit more in the next few weeks. What I'm going to try and do is get somebody from Lending on the channel probably early next year to talk about the Bitcoin kind of back mortgage. I think this is going to be a really big product for them, and it's something that I imagine some of their competitors will look to be launching next year as well. So interesting that they've got a bit of first mover advantage here, but I will try and get someone from Lending onto the channel early next year to talk about this in a little bit more detail. But yeah, really interesting product. A lot of people have been crying out for a long time for a Bitcoin backed mortgage. And then moving on to a couple of other stories. Firstly, Nexo tokens just recently been listed on FTX. Basically, there are a few trading pairs available. They're all stable Nexo stablecoin trading pairs. So that's really nice to see them launch onto a large exchange. So well done to Nexo. Nice to see them continue to grow. And then something which I think is really interesting also from Nexo is basically an NFT lending desk. So this was just announced yesterday. So it will start with the more kind of like premium end of the NFT market. So Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks, the two largest NFTs. These are sort of like trading for millions of dollars at a time. So what they will be allowing you to do is put your NFT up as collateral and then borrow against the value of that. As I said, they are starting with these very high worth kind of NFT kind of collections. No doubt some more will be coming in the foreseeable future, but you know, if you're just holding something kind of random that nobody's heard of, you know, don't anticipate being able to kind of borrow against that, certainly in the short term. But they have an NFT trading desk. You can reach out to those. Really interesting. You borrow up to 20% of your NFT if you own a Bored Ape Yacht Club or a CryptoPunk. So pretty low loan to value there, but there's no kind of credit checks. You can see here, flexible, no liquidations before maturity, even if the value of your NFT fluctuates during the course of your loan. So that's obviously why it's such a low kind of percentage. They can't offer sort of 50% or anything like that on such a kind of like volatile kind of asset. But really interesting. You do have to reach out to them. It's a white glove service, so you will get a dedicated account manager. Obviously, if you are holding these really high worth kind of NFTs, you have a reasonable amount of money. So you will, I imagine, be getting a very handheld kind of like quality kind of VIP type of service. But you can read all about it on this page. There's lots of information, and I think this is something else that we're going to see from more of these kind of like more of these companies, possibly tied to their OTC desks and stuff like that, which are already offering a sort of like, you know, sort of like one-on-one kind of like account manager type service, rather than through the usual kind of interface that many people, including myself, are using on these platforms. But that's it for oh, excuse me, almost got to the end. That's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching as always. Hope you're all keeping well. I will be doing a final update on Christmas Eve, so on the 24th, next Friday. So hopefully you're tuning for that. I'm going to try and do some other videos. Something I wanted to mention was that I got an email from Celsius earlier that their in-app swap feature has now been enabled for me. So it looks like they're rolling that out gradually across more and more kind of people. So what I'm going to try and do, maybe next week if I get a chance, if not at the beginning of January, is a kind of a comparison between the swap functionality in these competing products. So we'll probably leave crypto.com out because that has a legitimate, decent kind of exchange, but we'll be comparing sort of like BlockFi, Celsius, Lending, Hodl, etc., etc. So I'll transfer the same amount, a small amount of Bitcoin, for example, that's available on all of these kind of platforms. So we'll sell the same amount on each platform, see how much US dollar we get. So we'll do a little bit of a comparison video, as I said, either next week or more likely probably a beginning of January. Anyway, thanks very much for watching as always. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.